Well, it seems like somebody slept in a little more than they expected to. Please, don't apologize. I'm just teasing. I know. But I also know that you were up pretty late, doing some studying. Is that right? Well, because your roommate told me. They sent me a message earlier this morning saying that you might be a little late. Well, no. They thought that I would get angry if you didn't appear right on time. Because, well, you know, I'm the punctual one of the group. Well, to be fair, the only time I got upset was because everyone seemed to have forgotten about the time, and then we couldn't spend all of the hours that we originally wanted to at the theme park. So, you can imagine as to why I was a little upset. No, normally, I don't mind. That's all in the past, months ago, so don't worry. Of course. I do hope that you got sufficient rest, though. I'm not sure how late you were up, but hopefully sleeping in made up for it. Of course. Of course. I'm more than excited to go and get some coffee and some lunch later. It would be more like dinner, but regardless, I look forward to it. Oh yes, I did a little bit of reading ahead of time. But then again, I had a few minutes up to about an hour to just catch up on some things on my own. It definitely isn't the easiest class, I'll give you that. I actually ran into Taylor a few minutes ago, just before you came by, and she said that even she's having quite a bit of trouble. You're very right. It's no wonder she said that, a third of the class dropped out after the first couple of weeks? That's a lot of people. Yep. The professor is definitely not known to be an easy one. But I guess that's sort of just to weed out all of the ones who don't want to take this seriously. Oh, I agree, it's completely dumb. But, it's fine. Me? Well, I feel a little nervous about it. I'm not going to lie. And I'm talking about even more nervous about it than I would any other normal exam. But on top of it being a final, and it's a subject that I'm not exactly the most obsessed with, yeah, there is a little cause for concern. But I know that we can do it. Well, I try to be as optimistic as possible, with a touch of realism, of course. I see no point in being pessimistic or so realistic that it drives you down. Drives you down a negative path, I suppose, or drags you down. Both of them work, right? It is much better. So I try to be as positive and optimistic about it, and I study for it. Exactly. We are here to study for it together. Well, even if the class exam is just a few days away, even studying a little extra can't hurt. Well, the other exams I feel a lot more confident about. It shouldn't be too bad. Nervous. Very nervous. Well, that is, of course, very understandable. I understand completely. You think just because I seem to have everything together doesn't mean that I have any anxieties? It's far from the truth. Of course. Though to be fair, many people, if not everyone, has that general fear of failure. I know. But you're smart. Truly. At least I think you are. You studied quite hard this semester. You should be proud of that at the very least. Even if you aren't making perfect scores, you're still doing as best as you can. Me? Oh, with my... Yes. So I did used to have some really bad test anxiety. Really, it affected how I studied, how I focused, of course, and of course, as well, it affected my grade. Well, I didn't get over it, but I found ways to sort of lessen the stress and anxiety. Well, for one, I studied, and two, on the night before the test, I made sure to actually work to get sufficient amount of sleep. Well, you know what you know, right? And the best thing that I feel that anybody can do is breathe. I know that is extremely cliche, but focusing on breathing, refusing to let your mind swim in circles. It takes practice, it truly does, but it's worth it. Well, For starters, when it comes to breathing, we all know the meditative way, in through the nose and out through the mouth. I know, overdone, but there's a reason why it's used so much, because it's helpful. Exactly. And it also adds more circulation of oxygen into the brain, which is very good for it to, function. One other thing that I do is whenever I take tests, if I'm in person, I always cover the next question below with either a piece of paper, the Scantron, whatever, because then it's less overwhelming. If I am able to look at only one question at a time and not look at the other questions below, it helps me feel a little more focused. I don't feel like I'm going to be overwhelmed with dozens of words and sentences put together to try and confuse me. Working on one problem at a time is very useful. It is easier said than done. It's definitely worth it. I do have to say though, one thing that definitely has helped throughout the years of studying, having practice, all that, it's definitely got to be believing that I'm doing my best. Regardless of the score, I did my best, and I consistently did my best throughout the semester. I did what I could, exactly. There's no point in regretting it. You did what you could, and regardless, I'm going to be so proud of you. We may not know each other like we grew up with each other, as neighbors or anything, but I feel like having known you throughout this semester has been really nice. I'm happy that we can study together, that we can help each other with questions, and even just simply hang out. It's nice. I know. Tests are scary. Anything where your knowledge or your history of work ethic is evaluated as stressful. But I know you can do it. I believe in you. And while we may not really be allowed to sit next to each other, I'll be here for you. Everything will be okay. Of course. Of course, I would love to do a little breathing exercise with you. It'll help us transition into our studying brain. Ready? Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. I can't wait to see how you feel after the semester is over, after the test is over, and no matter what, I'm going to be super proud of you. Thank you. Now come on, let's open our books and start with this chapter.